Welcome to The Healthy You, a conversation with Dr. J, where we keep it real, keep it fun, and we keep it green. Hello, my green family. It's Dr. J, your favorite vegan physician, who believes your plate is more powerful than your pharmacy. Welcome to Season 4, Episode 3 of The Healthy You. Today, we're going to talk about being stuck, the hidden beliefs keeping you sick, broke, and unhappy. And today I am so happy to present the guests we have with us today. We go way, 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 way back. We went to school together, elementary, all the way up. So I have Melissa Watson Clark. She's a licensed certified social worker, clinical with more than 20 years of clinical experience. She's the founder of Gardenwood Counseling Center, a private paid telehealth practice serving women across Maryland. She is the developer of the Belief Reconstruction Framework. That's a structured clinical methodology that helps midlife women identify and reconstruct the belief systems driving their stuck patterns, stall growth, and quiet sabotage. Melissa has trained more than 400 licensed clinicians in evidence-based practice and has developed continuing education programming on belief transformation for mental health professionals. She publishes weekly on YouTube and writes the Gardenwood Letter, a letter for midlife women who are ready to examine what is actually driving their patterns. Thank you
Oh,
for joining us today.
thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate this.
Yes. So let's get started. Why are we mid? Well, I don't know if we're still mid. Are we midlife? We'll take it. We'll call it that. What's driving us to be stuck and keeping us sick, broke, and unhappy?
That's your question? What?
That's my question to you.
Okay, well, that can be a long answer. I'll give you the short one.
Give me the short version. Well, tell me how this all started. How did this become your passion?
Okay,
Let's
so
start
I've
there.
been doing private practice for a while. And
Hmm.
what I have seen is that lots of women come to me and they have resolved all the issues related to their mental health. So if they're depressed, we've created structure and understanding of their triggers, and they have a toolkit to use when they feel a cycle coming. And so we've dealt with all of that, the back and forth and the anxiety, and so they have a really solid plan. But what hasn't changed is their lives. Their lives have not meaningfully changed. So we switch from how do I handle these symptoms to week after week talking about the same thing related to their career, maybe their relationship, maybe some difficulty with a family member. So they're not changing their lives. And my question is, well, why not? So it's deeper than that. It's not just talk therapy. There's something else underneath the mental health diagnosis that's keeping people stuck.
Which means, we know all the answers, but we're stuck.
We're stuck. We know exactly what to do to take care of our mental health. Boom. We know
And
what
to take care of our
to do
health,
for our
period.
physical health.
And we don't
Absolutely.
do it.
And we don't do it. And there's a reason for it. And so I just kind of sat down and I looked at how women learn best and manifestation stuff and just kind of put them all together. And
Oh,
this is what came out of it, the belief reconstruction framework. And
wow.
that's what I created. That's what I developed. And
And that's what you developed.
that's what I
Okay.
developed.
So let's talk about how does that work?
So it looks at it. It starts out by women identifying. I say women a lot because that's primarily who I work with.
Hmm.
But they're looking at.
Anybody, right?
It can work on anybody, but I have more experience working with women than men. I don't know that it's different. I just haven't done a lot with men. And so getting clear about what your vision is where we start. We start from that space. What is it that you actually want? Because that's a harder question to answer than a lot of people think it is. What do I want? And we go from there to what's keeping you from what's preventing you from getting there. And so we look at some of those beliefs. We look at the things they believe about themselves. The stories that they've told themselves, the stories that they've been told. And through I have a core belief assessment, it gets to this is what I think about myself that's keeping me stuck. It could
Wow.
be I'm not enough. I don't feel safe. I'm not capable. I don't deserve to have what I want. It could be whatever, it could be a number of things. And so from there, we go to, well, where did that come from? And we'll talk
Wow.
about that. We'll talk about that later because there are more questions. It's like 8 sessions or eight
Right.
parts. Where did
Mm-hmm.
that come from? Who taught you that? Who told you that? And
Mm-hmm.
then we go to what does it look like? So they'll know when they're operating from a place of that limiting belief, as
Wow.
opposed to actually they're what I say to clients, the 6-year-old is still driving the car instead of the 60-year-old driving the car. So they need to we work on how they identify when the 6-year-old is driving. So then we
Wow.
create we after they recognize it and can see this is what's actually happening, this is the behavior, then we can start developing something else.
Okay, so let's go back.
Hmm.
So, what you're saying, they're actually, a lot of times people don't even realize they have limiting beliefs.
Absolutely. People, what they say is this just how I am.
Uh,
Like with health, it's I can't eat a vegan lifestyle. I can't do a vegan lifestyle because
I
it's
gotta
just
have
how it
meat.
is. I gotta have that meat. What am I gonna do for the holidays if
I don't have enough protein. I don't get enough
I
protein.
don't get enough protein?
Right.
Yeah. So people tell themselves all kinds of stories,
Mhm.
but it's based on the messaging that they got when they were younger. They said, I can't do anything. And that's often based on the brain.
Families.
It, I'm getting there. Right. Right. Because this is what families have said to have belonging, to be safe, you have to do this. Because when you try to break out of the expectations of the norms of the
Mhm.
family, you
Mhm.
risk belonging. So I'm going to eat this meat because if I don't, then I've risked my belonging in the family.
Because grandma said I have to clean my plate.
Yes.
And that's why, as my watchers know, that I always say that diseases aren't genetic. A
Hmm.
lot of them are because of behaviors. If
Absolutely.
grandma eats bad and
Hmm.
she gets diabetes,
Hmm.
you're going to eat like grandma and you're going to eat like mom.
Absolutely.
And that's why you have the same outcome and the same diseases because you have the same behaviors.
Exactly. And then think about how the brain is also participating in this, our brains and our nervous systems.
Mhm.
So I have to eat this stuff over here because grandma will be upset, mom will be upset if I don't eat it. So my brain is like, when I'm thinking, I think I want to try a vegan menu for a week. Your brain goes into overdrive. That's not safe. That's not safe. Danger, Will Robinson. It really kicks into overdrive to keep you from doing it. Shows you all the reasons why it is not safe. Because because you've learned that limiting belief is I can lose ownership or connection to that family if I threaten the way we eat. And then the nervous system kicks into overdrive. It's like, oh my God, you're getting all anxious and you're getting all tense. And so you rather than feel like that, I'm gonna eat that. I'm gonna eat that rib. So the brain is the brain is also working really
Really, that's just like my grandmama did.
hard.
Eat all that sugar and get my legs
Absolutely, absolutely, and they can see grandma sitting there without her
right
leg, but
or
because
having
they don't want to
strokes or
risk,
heart
it
attacks.
feels very unsafe for them to actually make that shift into a better way of eating, because again, they feel if 6-year-old them felt threatened by trying to do something different.
Wow, that's deep. That is
Yeah,
really deep
yeah,
because they first have to realize that they have these limiting beliefs.
yes.
And so, how you pull that out of people is having them to realize what are their goals.
That's where we start. What is your vision? Get
Start.
really clear about your vision. And then
Mhm.
you go to it's not necessarily goals, because goals, that's almost like masculine talk. It's
Okay.
it's it's what's your vision for your life? And women, you make the shift away from goals because men approach things differently than women do. We
Yes.
we have this sense of responsibility for a whole lot of people, for the way our family functions, for the way everybody else around us. moves through
Yeah.
life or the expectations put on us.
Hmm.
It's different for us. And
Hmm.
so I want women to connect to their vision. What is the thing that you want? And not, I want to have a car, I want to have this, I want to have that. It's how do I want to experience my life?
Right. And
And
the rest of my life,
the rest of it.
since you're
Absolutely.
dealing with midlife, because it's amazing how, me as a woman, I think I went through the largest transformation when I transitioned from a mother of a child
Hmm.
to a mother of an adult.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
nobody ever talked about that.
Yes.
It's more than just your kids leaving to go off to college.
Absolutely.
It's actually if your whole life is revolved about around these particular roles,
Right. Yeah.
then boom, you're here, which I guess that's the reason why so many people have divorces after
Yeah.
their kids leave,
Yeah.
because it's like you become, who are you?
Yep. Yeah.
Because all these times when you're in these roles, you don't know who
Right.
you are
Right.
because you're so busy, is what you said.
And then a lot of times, once that kid, that child that you raised and did all the things for, they go off to their lives. Then you got aging parents,
Yes.
and you still don't get out, or a sick husband, a sick partner.
Mhm.
You still don't get out of the caretaking role, and you start to believe this is who I am, and this is how life is supposed to be for me. And
Wow.
so the women I work with are rather high functioning, pretty capable, smart women, and they're telling themselves, and they've gone and run programs and departments and, all these things that are fight from their job for professionally, they can't have that same level of competence in their personal lives
Wow.
about themselves.
Because that feels, like you said, that feels safe. The
Yes,
brokenness feels safe.
brokenness feels safe. Yes,
Wow.
yeah. And so I just decided I want to. This is the world I want to work in with women.
Hmm.
Because I say that again.
Help us,
Because
because it goes back to what you said. You see a lot of very successful women
Mhm.
that are overweight,
Yep,
that can't balance their checkbooks, they
yep,
overspend, they're
right,
making a whole almost 10 times what their parents made,
yes,
and
yes,
they just can't get it together.
absolutely,
Bad relationships.
yeah, yeah. And the thing with that I really where I really dig in with some women is that they're talking about their relationship with their mothers, which can be really difficult because their mothers, you know, there is a category of mother who expects now that I have reached old age, or because I'm your mother, you are always supposed to do exactly what I tell you to do. But
Right.
they grew up pretty much the same way that they've brought their daughters up in self-sacrifice and not have always taking care of everyone else, and they don't take care of themselves, but they've gotten to a point where they need their daughter, and rather than aligning with her in a new way of doing things, they want their daughters to do it the same way they did it. So no, you're not going to go start this business. No, you're not going to go and do this Appalachian Trail walk. You're not going to do it because I need you here. And so the work that I'm doing is with women is all right. So how with my clients, I'm going to start, but with my clients is how do you do both? How do you do both?
Okay.
You don't have to be lost. You don't sacrifice your life for your parents. That's not even why they raised you. I
Mm-mm.
don't think so anyway.
Right.
And so,
That's another mental health issue.
yeah, that's a whole different story.
Whole
So
different story.
absolutely. So how do you do both? Because they start out believing that they can't do both.
Right.
And then as we go through this process and they realize the limiting belief is it could be I can't do anything on my own. That could be what they've walked around with. I can't do anything on my own, which means to starting that business, well, if you can't do anything on your own, you can't start a business by yourself.
Wow. Yeah.
Or I can't do anything without everybody's got to agree because there's a lot of need for approval.
Yes.
So everybody's got to agree, everybody's got to be on board before I can do it. How can you do that without anybody saying it's okay?
Wow.
So that's
And
and
that's
it's
the point.
powerful work. It's
That's major.
work. Yeah.
Because that's a lot of work. And it's the sad part about it is the kids that are coming up now, they're even more on acceptance from everybody because of social media.
Yes. Oh
They
yeah.
gotta have the lights.
Yes.
Everybody else is doing it.
Yes.
I dare not do this because nobody else is doing it.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. It's you would think. I feel like because the way we were brought up, there was a level of independence, I think,
mhm.
because our parents did kind of shoo us out and
Yeah,
goodbye. Yeah, y'all go and handle your life, but you have to do things in a particular way.
right,
So
right,
yes, go out into the world, but you have to do things in a particular way. And what we're doing is trying to break that mold, break out of that particular way issue. And
right.
so with younger people, and I don't necessarily, I work with younger people as a therapist, but not necessarily introducing this model to them because there's more for them to learn. They don't understand themselves in a way that just growing and aging
They're
helps.
just of that age.
They're not
Right.
there yet. Yeah.
They're not there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because those people, as you go through the 20s and 30s, you change what your focus are. And that's why we always tell younger women and younger men to pick a mate for your 40-year-old self or your
Yeah.
50-year-old
Yeah.
self, not
Yeah.
the 20-year-old self. Because the
Absolutely. It's gonna
20-year-old
change.
self will have you messed up.
Lottie dottie, we like to party.
Right.
That's where my ex-husband lives in my 20s.
Whoever looks great and can hang and party, we go with that one.
Yeah, it's not very deep.
Right.
But you're right. So we change, and so I think it's what I've seen it. I've worked more with women in their 50s
Okay.
with the framework. I've tried younger women. It just they're still figuring out who they are
Right.
and owning that. And
Hmm.
so it doesn't hit the same way.
Right.
And so, I mean, I'll introduce it, but we'll go through a couple of sessions. And I'm like, nah, this
Yeah.
ain't it.
Because
Yeah.
they're just not mature enough because you
Yeah.
got to be past a certain stage in life too.
You do, just developmentally where you are in your
Yeah.
psychosocial crisis. And so it's not just about other people because they're still in that other people have importance.
With
Maybe I
children and yeah.
because they have to pay attention to they gotta take care of the kids.
Right.
And so but if you're in your 50s and you're still talking every week about the 30-year-old at your house that won't get a job, well then we're gonna talk about how you have set yourself up
For
to
them.
stay in a mothering role
Right.
rather than step into the vision you have for your life.
Okay. And is that not also blaming someone else?
Well, they're not blaming. They're saying that I have to do this because
Oh gosh.
he or she is not ready to launch. I have
Got
to do this. So the 30-year-old is just kind of doing what they always did. So they're not saying, "Hey, take care of me." They're just saying, "I'm not going anywhere, so you have to continue to take care of me."
right. Okay.
And
Got it.
so,
Okay.
and the conversation is different. The conversation is not about how I'm going to launch you.
Mhm.
It's how am I going to not I'm how I'm going to be less frustrated by you being here. And I'm like, well, why are we talking about that? And so it's week after week after week of that conversation as opposed to how are we moving you forward? Because
Oh,
forward
okay.
is the way you have to go. And so
Right.
you keep looking behind you at this kid or this young adult who should be out there trying to figure all this out. They're going to mess up. Let them mess up.
Let them mess up. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Awesome.
it's
Awesome.
really interesting. Yeah.
So helping middle-aged women to basically get to understand what they want
Mhm.
for the rest of their life
Yes.
and who they are
Yes.
and once they realize that, then they're able to work on how they feel about themselves, why they can't do that. Is that what?
Yeah, because we get clear about where it comes from. It's really important to understand where that limiting belief came from. Because
Okay.
it's the message, because it's gonna kick in. That's like that little voice in your head that we all have.
Yes.
She's gonna kick in and tell you that the new thing you're doing is unsafe. You've got to be able to recognize that little voice.
Hmm.
You've got to recognize that when I do this, the little voice appears. And so you need to understand you need to understand that it's not a random little voice. That's my mother's voice.
Okay.
That's that teacher's voice who I thought
So
was
it's never your voice, is it? It's usually
it's no. Well, you think
is
it's your
it
voice.
your voice or it's
You think it's your voice. You think it's instinct. You think it's wisdom. But when wisdom makes you
Think it's
you think it's Jesus telling you not to. Yeah. But when the voice speaks and you feel energetically your body contract, is that the right way? Contract, and your energy levels go down. That says no, that's not necessarily a voice that's trying to help you. That's something that's trying to keep you in place.
in
And so
place.
we do some work on recognizing how energetically when you shift.
Oh,
When something feels right, you feel lighter. Your energy goes up, right? You feel the sun. But when something feels wrong, you fold into yourself.
yeah. And you feel like, well, I just need to go get in the bed or
Yeah. Or
I need
you
to
just or the
check my life.
excitement, yeah, you check out. And the excitement that you might have had for that idea, it just becomes, I can't do that. No, that wasn't a good idea. Brilliant idea. No, that wasn't a good idea. I can't do that. And everything gets, even your voice probably gets a little deeper. Sometimes your voice gets a little deeper because it's like you're covering up. It's almost like you're covering up that part of you that's so desperate to
To get out.
fly.
Uh-huh.
Yes, yes, yes.
So you're telling yourself, stay down,
Stay
just
down.
stay broke, stay
Mhm. Stay
in
unhealthy.
unhealthy, stay in
Yeah.
bad relationships, stay. Wow. Okay. And so that's one thing is also, knowing what you want to do, working on your limiting belief, well, where they come from.
Mhm. Mhm.
So let's go back to that because I know people hold their parents at different esteems.
Mhm.
And what about if it's a parent and they hold them at a good esteem, but you as the counselor realize that was mental health? How
Of
do you how is that approach?
parent the parents' mental health or
Where the woman may not have realized it was mental health
yeah.
in the parent.
Mhm.
Like you're like a parent telling their child, you're never going to be anything because, you're a girl, or you're never going to be anything because, you know, you're lazy.
Right. Right. Well, I can't ascribe mental health diagnosis to people I don't work with.
Okay.
What I can say is I can challenge what they're saying. And so it's, if you because you're a girl, you can't, you can't build homes for a living. Lots of people are rehabbing homes. You can't rehab homes for a living because you're a female and you
Mhm.
don't know how to do that. And so the question is, well, let's do a reality check. What do you know how to do? Because usually when you want to do something like that, you've learned all kinds of skills.
Right.
I'm not arguing with them about what their mother said.
Got it.
No, I know about because they
We're
believe it.
not going there.
I'm
Okay.
not going there, but what I am getting them to do is question those beliefs. Let's talk about it. Is
Okay.
that is that actually true? And so I'll give people homework assignments where they've come and said something like that and given me a very passionate reason why they can't do the thing that they are ready to do, but they are hesitating to do. And so the assignment is write down all the reasons and answer the question, is that true? That's it. And they come back, most of this wasn't true. Really? And what parts were true? And the parts that they still hold on to are often connected to a limiting belief they're not ready to see or let go of.
Okay.
And sometimes it's just true. The thing is just true. But for the most part, these are all things they put in, are obstacles they put in their own way
Hmm.
that are because of messages that they've gotten about their abilities from their parents. And it's not just parents. Parents, I don't want to give parents a bad rep. You're a parent, I'm a parent.
Right.
We give
Right.
our kids isms, but not all of them. So
Right.
it may be that there's a trusted adult, or maybe that said something to them that really rocked their confidence. It could be they were ridiculed by their entire family. They tried something, they were ridiculed by the family
Or at school when they
or
were 10
school.
years old. Yeah.
Humiliating, and so I would never want to experience that again. And they get stuck there with certain things. And what they do is they can internalize it, right? So they feel it a certain way in their body. So if I'm feeling this way in my belly, that means that it's connected to that time that this happened. And so what I want to do is open them up. All right, so let's talk about, because I also do tapping and EFT and tapping. And
Oh,
so
do you? Okay.
let's connect to when this happened the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go back and we redo the memory, and I'll take them through a tapping sequence to
Mm-hmm.
kind of disperse that trauma bubble around that moment of that memory.
So I don't want to get off on tapping, but for our listeners, explain what tapping is.
So when we have a traumatic memory, the energy gets stuck in our bodies, right? And so there's the meridians that go through the body, and there's some of them are attached to the trauma response in the brain. The cortis, what is it? The which part of the brain is that? Amygdala.
Okay.
So that's
Okay.
where the stress hormones live, right?
Right,
And
right.
so when something similar to that experience happens, then the stress hormones go up and we go into fight, flight, or freeze. What
Mm-hmm.
tapping does is it takes you through a sequence where you're kind of tapping on these various energy centers in your body. And what you're doing is you're kind of talking about what the negative emotions are that you experienced as a result of this. And you're tapping those places in order to release the energy so it can flow through your body again. So it's like stuck energy. And so
Mm-hmm.
tapping clears it. And that's why it's really important. You're not saying, I feel great. I feel wonderful. I am healed. No, I
Mm-hmm.
felt terrible when they said this. It was embarrassing. It was humiliating. So you can release that where that energy is stuck around being embarrassed and humiliated with this memory. And it's so powerful because at the end of it, we'll do like what's your scale? How intensely are you feeling this emotionally on a scale of 0 to 10? At the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, and then we do it again at the end. And you see people have had some release of the emotional intensity of that
Wow.
moment. And so they're able to pop that trauma bubble around what happened and they're able to move on. And you see it happening. What happens is because I had this memory of this thing happened to me, this happened to me, that happened to me, that happened to me, all connected to this one incident. It's one thing over here,
Mhm.
and it all just kind of disappears. It's
Wow.
all released.
Okay. And
And
so that breaks the cycle of you going back when you get certain feelings, you
you
go
don't have to,
back
you
to,
don't have to protect yourself anymore.
right, you're not protected because it's not stuck there.
Not stuck there anymore.
Wow.
Tapping is really powerful. If you can get with a practitioner, EFT practitioner, you should really do that.
So let's talk a little bit about faith and can faith and church and religion, well, I'm not going to say, well, yeah, let's say religion and church, it can give us limiting beliefs also.
Hmm. Absolutely.
And so how do we deal with that
Okay.
or is that, kind of off, you know?
It's not off. I just don't want to say anything controversial here.
Right.
You're to say anything too crazy, but I think what happens is that with church in particular and not necessarily faith, I think, but in church,
Yeah.
there's a tendency to believe that your healing comes from outside of yourself. Right? You need to do this person is telling you you need to do all of this, you need to behave this particular way.
Hmm.
And you become dependent on that person
Hmm.
for how you heal.
Hmm.
And that's the part that I think is damaging because your healing comes from yourself.
Hmm.
Right? You have to believe that you have the ability to heal. But if you're relying on someone else to approve or disapprove what it is that you're saying, then that takes you're giving up responsibility for your own healing to someone else. So I think that's the challenge, and I think belief, faith is really important in all of this because you have to have faith that that you can be
Be healed. Right.
being who you dream of being. You can't be healed of whatever it is that keeps you going to that refrigerator, getting that chocolate
Right.
cake. You can be
Right.
healed with that, but you can't if you're relying on someone else to do it for you.
And not having the belief that you can actually be
Yes.
healed.
Yes.
And that's very important because that explains a lot of times I speak in churches about eating right and eating the right foods and not eating the fried foods because it's really hard. Our trust in our religions and churches
Hmm.
really can sometimes put up, limiting beliefs
Absolutely.
because people will go up when they're having a heart attack, they have a stroke, and
Hmm.
they will get up and they will pray and get happy and ask everybody to pray for them. But
Yeah.
then right after church,
Hmm.
they're having fried chicken across in the
In
in,
the
in the
home.
seat, and they're all making their way over there on walkers.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then, and I sit back and I'm trying not to be get in trouble. But I'm like, okay, so your belief system is not there.
Right. Right.
And, it's not that I'm talking against God or anything like that. You do not have it. And the Bible even tells you, you have to believe.
Yes.
The woman with the issue of blood was cured because she had the belief.
Yeah. It's full of way more instances of people just deciding, I believe.
Exactly.
I believe I can heal. I
Right.
believe I can have optimum health.
Right.
I believe that I can run a 5K or a 10K.
Right.
You
But
have to
take your
believe it. But
right.
there's a who is this? I'm never gonna remember his name, but he says Michael Beckwith, I think it is.
Mhm.
He says our lives are really more a reflection of who we are rather than who we want to be. That's just I'm really paraphrasing, but it's like if I look at my life and it is not what I dream of, it's reflecting who I am right now. And not it's not so if I want to change that, then I have to change who I am. And I also have to believe that I can be different. And then I have to step into the person who is different. So I experience myself as the person who is different. So if I want to start a healthy lifestyle, I just start eating healthy. And I don't go, I'm not following a plan that says do these 10 things. I am now a person who eats healthy.
Right. I am now a person who eats healthy.
Yes.
Not, I can't have that, or no,
Yes.
you telling me I can't have ribs
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
because you're holding on to the limiting belief that you can't be healed.
Yes. Yes. And you can't stop eating.
You can't stop eating a rib.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's challenging, but
Very
it's
challenging.
but it's you paying attention to yourself and deciding. That's why the vision is really important at the beginning of this. Where are we going? Where are you going? What is it that you want? I can't tell you if what you want is to experience optimum health. I can't tell you how to do that.
Mm-mm.
I don't know, but you do.
You do. Right.
Yes, and so start experiencing yourself as a person who's optimally healthy. If you think about it, if I'm experiencing myself as a person who is optimally healthy, then I'm gonna see that cookie or that rib or that
And right.
and just go right by it. I
Right.
won't
You're gonna say, I can't eat that because I'm
yeah,
not gonna eat that because that's not healthy.
it's not
It
healthy.
is not healthy.
Yeah. Mhm.
So let's talk about the role of family.
Okay.
Because one thing I do say how, diseases follow in family, and it's not because of genetics, it's
Hmm.
because of behaviors. Because you can have the gene, but it doesn't have to be expressed if you're healthy.
Right.
So,
Yep.
because they have done studies with twins where one ate regular food and one ate a Mediterranean diet, the one with they both had the genes for diabetes, high blood pressure, and the one who ate, all the meat and everything actually had the diseases and the other one didn't,
Yeah.
yet they had the same genes. So that's behavior.
Hmm.
But what about, so another thing I always say is, and this is not being judgmental, and please don't write in and all of that, everybody, about what I'm saying. But I can really tell from children that are fat
Hmm.
what their parents look like
Hmm.
because
Okay.
of the behavior.
Yeah.
We
Absolutely.
teach children
Yeah.
how to eat.
Yes.
So if we taking them to McDonald's every day, then we wonder why, they're 10 years old and weigh 260.
Yeah, right,
Because
right,
now you have planted the idea that I'm
yeah,
supposed to eat processed.
right, right.
And I feel good
Mm-hmm,
and for the moment
mm-hmm.
until, my body get. So how a person who decides at that, let's go back to like because we are talking about midlife women. Husband still wants to barbecue, but and she cares about what her husband says. How do you address that?
Again, her husband is doing what he wants to do. Great. You're not trying to stop him from doing what he's doing because you got to focus on you. And so, do you believe? Let's get to that belief, that limiting belief that says that you can't do something separate and apart from your husband. What's the limiting belief that's feeding that?
Hmm.
And so it could be I have to. What could be what would be a good limiting belief for that? Why I have to. The one where the husband is the head of the household. I hope I'm not getting in trouble with this one because
Well, no, I mean,
I haven't been married in a very long time. But my husband is the head of the household, so he gets to make decisions.
Mhm.
All right. And so your husband might be the head, but you the neck. And so you get to decide, you still get to decide for yourself what you eat. You are not controlling him, but you
Mhm.
are saying for yourself, do you believe that you have autonomy within your relationship? Or do you have autonomy as a human being? And so, and they don't like that question, autonomy as a human being. That's a harder question.
That
Well,
is a harder question.
what is it that you believe about your ability to make decisions for yourself? And
Wow.
I'm not challenging it. It's like if that's what you
It is what it is.
but if you're saying that I cannot go on the eat this different way because my husband still wants to eat whatever he wants to eat, then I'm going to challenge that in the way of getting you to look at, well, your vision is this. How do you get how do you get to your vision if you're not making even this kind of a decision about what you're going to eat? If you're going to eat the same, is it possible for you to even get there if you're going to eat the same? And so we just kind of go from there because I want them to look at what it is that they're saying about themselves. You mentioned earlier about blaming other people, and that is certainly blaming other people.
Right,
But I
right.
don't allow that really.
Okay.
Because if you're doing something and you tell me you want to do A and then you're saying, but I'm gonna do B because this one made me, I'm like, that's bullshit.
Yeah. That's okay. But it's right. It's true.
It's true, right?
Right.
That's not why you're doing it. And
Mm-mm.
so we're gonna go to why you're doing it because nobody else is in control of you anymore. 6-year-old you, yeah, had people who were in control of you. Many of those people are probably gone. They're probably not even here anymore. Because they talk to you about compliance, being agreeable, paying attention to the person who had the most authority in the room. And
Right.
you've been living like that ever since. And so what we're going to do is talk about how are you still that person and then how has she changed and what kind of decisions does she really want to make for herself?
Wow. That's very powerful. That's
Okay.
very powerful.
Yeah, it really is when you see somebody, you see the light bulb go off. And
Right.
it's not that they're making huge changes, but they're saying, I'm going to ease back. They start with easing back. I'm going to start with easing back. And then when they see that it works, then they can jump into the lifestyle that they
Then,
want
then,
to live.
then you make a, then they really be changing.
Yeah. Yes,
Like,
that
oh,
is true. That
it
is
was
true.
all I had to do.
All I had to do because they haven't had a chance to practice doing something else.
Right.
So then they can say, and I don't mind taking a hit. My therapist told me to do this. That's fine. I ain't scared of your husband.
Right. So let's do, what's one belief you wish everyone would let go of?
People tell themselves a whole lot of stories about why they can't do something. And I want people to know that, like our former president said, yes, you can. Yes, you can. If you just have to believe that you can. And it really is that simple.
It really is that simple.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, and then what's the biggest misconception people have about motivation? Because you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, I just can't do it because I don't have the motivation."
I believe it's not about motivation, it's about belief. And so the misconception is that motivation is enough to carry you through. You do need motivation, it's a driver. But you can be motivated as hell to do something, but if you don't believe you can do it, you are not going to do it. Or you can do it for a little bit of time, and but then you go off. It rains. You decide I'm going to walk every day this week. I'm motivated to walk every day this week, but you got this voice, this limiting belief that says I can't lose weight, and so it rains. And so you don't walk that day, and then you don't walk the next, and you know that motivation just goes away because you generally don't believe that you can lose the weight.
Wow, now that is powerful. That explains why a lot of people start stuff
Mm-hmm.
and don't because they truly, it's
Yes.
not about motivation, it's about belief.
Yes. They really don't believe they can do it.
They really do not, you really do not believe that you could do it.
Yes. And that's why when you're working with clients who they're just not doing it, you really got to get to what it is that they believe about being able to do this thing, and make space for that.
Right.
Because if you don't, then they just keep showing up
You
time
just
after
keep
time
running
after time. Yep.
and
Mhm.
keep failing
Keep
and keep
failing.
trying all the diets.
And
Keep,
then they get a new limiting belief
there you go.
because now I can't lose weight. I can't follow a diet. I
Right.
can't eat a
I've
particular way.
always been big.
So so failure produces new limiting beliefs.
Wow.
And so, you have to, if you can get in there when you first start working with somebody, or, when somebody's trying to do something different, be really clear. And that's the work we would do. Be really clear about why you want to do this. That's the motivation. What is it? What's motivating you to want to make this change?
Hmm.
That's all the motivation is. That's
Right.
the
It's
reason.
the belief. It's the
Yes,
belief.
it's the
If
belief.
you don't believe it, you're gonna fail everything.
Yes.
You know, and it's funny because when I have a 15-minute consult with my patients before they work with me. And you know, we've been doing this stuff forever. So
Uh-huh.
we know.
Uh-huh.
And I could tell if, you know, and I pretty much tell people, you know, if you're not serious or
Mm-hmm.
you don't believe that you can do this,
Yep.
then don't let me waste your time and don't waste my time. Because I could
Absolutely.
be helping other people
Yeah.
that are ready to make the shift,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so, you know, and then, you know, I've had people say, oh, you're just being, you know, that's just being so direct. But it's true.
The truth.
It's exactly what you said.
People don't give people don't give enough weight around the issue of belief
Right.
or limiting beliefs.
The
They don't,
limiting beliefs. Right.
yeah, they don't believe they exist. They believe that I just gotta push, or I gotta pray, or I have to do all those things
Hmm.
to get where I want to be, when really you gotta start being able to see yourself as that version of you.
And
And
walk
you
into
can't
that
do
verse.
it.
Walk as you are
You can't
that.
do it until you believe that you can inhabit that person.
So, if you could leave our audience with one message about overcoming limiting belief, about this whole everything we've been talking about, what would you tell them? Get some help. No.
Call me, give me a call. It would be that one of the places that I occupy as people make this shift in with the clients that I work with is I believe in you.
Hmm.
I believe in you. And I want you to believe in yourself as much as I believe in you.
Oh, wow.
And so I talk to them about doing things, starting small, doing small things to practice being that new version of you. So they can feel, because what they felt is a lot of failure before.
Okay.
And so just start small. Don't tell yourself that you're going to jump into the deep end of the pool when you have never been in the kiddie pool. So start small, build up your capacity, and continue to push yourself. When you run into a place and you hear yourself saying, I can't do it, is that true? Ask yourself, is that true?
Ask yourself, is that
Yeah.
true?
Yeah. And then if it's not, then stop whining and keep going.
And keep going.
Yeah.
So, how can people contact you?
Well, they can come to my website, www.gardenwoodcc.com, and you can schedule a consultation call. I am private pay. I will say that. I do like to say that
Okay.
to be sure. I don't
We're
accept.
all private pay because
Yes.
insurances don't allow you to do all of this.
They do. The insurance companies will not allow this to happen.
Right.
And so just reach out that way. I also have a YouTube channel at Melissa Watson Clark, and you can see my videos where I'm really talking about how to make this shift. So you can understand. It's more in depth about really everything that I've talked about today.
Awesome. Awesome. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. I want you to like, subscribe so that we stay in the algorithm so more people can hear about the limiting beliefs and believing that you can do something, and also get a therapist because we all, we just have a lot of limiting beliefs because failure, as she said, failure produces more limiting belief. So be intentional about being healthy, living longer, and choose life. This is Dr. J reminding you to choose health, wholeness, and plants. Subscribe to this channel and don't forget to share to 3 people because education is powerful. Until next time, stay healthy, stay empowered, and stay plant-based. Did you know that many people can improve blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar through healthier eating habits? I've spent decades caring for patients. I've lived the plant-based transformation myself, and I've built this app called The Transition to guide you every step of the way. It's your vehicle for success. Many of my clients' success stories are improved weight loss, improved A1Cs, reduced blood pressure, better cholesterol numbers, and definitely more energy. Are you ready to improve your health one step at a time? Join me inside the Transition app at thetransitionapp.com. Have a great day. See you in the app.